more on what the new rules mean to both local Chinese lenders and international banks, we have Charles Chaw in our studio. He's the director of China Knowledge Consulting. So, are the Chinese banks going to be able to take on this new foreign competition?
They have done a lot of homework prior to these IPOs in recent 12 months. We see ICBC, Construction Bank of China, Bank of China. If you look at the market cap value today, of the top 10 in the world, 3 are Chinese banks. So in a way, they have raised enough money to get ready for foreign competition. And on the other hand, if you look at the numbers of foreign banks in China today, you are talking about only 200 over banks versus 70,000 branches of local Chinese banks. So it is, of course, a start for foreign banks to come to China from now on.
Right. But authorities in China, though, as you say, quite a few of them have the largest market cap in the world. But nonetheless, these Chinese banks have been riddled with corruption. Authorities have spent about $400 billion bailing them out in the last 8 years. And there's transparency problems. And a lot of them are still lending to borrowers who simply don't pay back their loans. So isn't there a credibility issue for China?
Yeah, $400 billion is a huge sum of money, of course. It is a commitment by the central government to clean up the non-performing loans. And the level of non-performing loans has come down to international level, 3–4% acceptable level, international. Transparency, this is why they are, they are all listed now, and then they have to have transparency among the local banks.
Right. Now, looking at the new rules for foreign banks to incorporate locally, of course, it enables them now to offer more products to the Chinese population, but at the same time, there's still a lot of restrictions in that regard, because they're going to have to be, for instance, in China for 3 years, they're going to have to be profitable for 2 of those years, and there's a series of other restrictions as well. Is that going to put off a lot of smaller foreign banks?
The Chinese government doesn't welcome, banks that make quick buck in China. They want long-term commitment, and setting this sort of rules and regulations are no different from most Asian countries, like, for example, Singapore or Thailand. They are somehow protected by government. It's not completely opened. That's the case in China as well.
Right. But do you think perhaps the big banks, because they've got such amazing recognition, the likes of HSBC and Standard Chartered, are these big international brand names going to lure the Chinese customer away from their local banks?
Foreign banks indeed is a good brand name. For example, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, and Citibank. Looking at these few, just for example, these 3 banks, they have a very strong presence, and they even own buildings in Shanghai, Pudong, in the financial district. They're very serious into entry into China, but getting into China market has two ways. One is, of course, organic growth, and secondly, you can buy into Chinese bank, but that again is also a high hurdle to involve a lot of cash.
Right. Okay, I'll leave it there. Charles Chaw from China Knowledge Consulting.